Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could give us a 5-star rating and leave a glowing review in the app where you are listening to this podcast. Thank you. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 167 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. A series of explosions happened yesterday at a military airfield in Novofedorivka on the territory of the temporarily occupied Crimea, reports Interfax Ukraine. According to the media, a fire started at the airfield, ammunition depots and the runway were burning. The Defense Ministry of Russia claimed that the cause of the explosions at the military airfield was the detonation of several aviation munitions, which happened due to poor fire protocol without any external influence. Russian ministry said that after the explosion at the airfield, no one was injured, the aviation equipment was not damaged. The Defense Ministry of Ukraine, commenting on the situation, stated that it could not determine the cause of the fire, but jokingly reminded the Russian military the rules of fire safety and the prohibition of smoking in dangerous places. Ukrainian society reacted enthusiastically to the news about the explosions. The BBC News Ukraine pointed out that the airfield in Novofedorivka is located at a distance of more than 200 kilometers from the Ukrainian positions in the Kherson region. Accordingly, even the longest-range missiles that the Ukrainian armed forces officially have, .U, with a range of up to 120 kilometers, could not reach this target. The sources of the New York Times confirmed to the media that the attack was carried out by the Ukrainian forces using a weapon of Ukrainian design, reports Ukrainska Pravda. According to the US Institute for the Study of War, the Kremlin has little incentive to accuse Ukraine of conducting strikes that cause the damage, since such strikes would demonstrate the ineffectiveness of Russian air defense systems, which the Ukrainian sinking of the cruiser Moskva had already revealed, reports Ukrainska Pravda. The experts say that the apparent simultaneity of explosions at two distant facilities likely rules out the official Russian version of accidental fire, but it does not rule out either sabotage or long-range missile strike. The institute says that Ukraine doesn't have US-made Army tactical missile systems ATACMS with range of up to 300 kilometers, but could have modified its Neptune anti-ship missiles for land attack use, even though there is no evidence to support this suggestion at the time. In his evening video address, President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky said that this Russian war against Ukraine and against the entire free Europe began in 2014 with Crimea and must end with Crimea, with its liberation. He stressed that the presence of Russian occupiers in Crimea is a threat to the entire Europe and to global stability. There will be no stable and lasting peace in the region of Black and Mediterranean seas as long as Russia is able to use the Ukrainian peninsula as its military base, believes the president. The US announced that it does not plan to supply additional HIMARS multiple-launch rocket systems to Ukraine in the near future, reports Interfax Ukraine. According to the Undersecretary of Defense Colin Kahl, the US has already supplied 16 of such systems to Ukraine, plus the UK and Germany plan to supply 3 each. He stressed that this is enough, considering that these are precision-guided systems for very particular types of targets and the Ukrainians are using them as such. The US will now focus instead on ensuring continuous supplies of ammunition for them. The General Staff of Ukraine informs that the Russian forces are actively using artillery along the entire front line, reports Grunt Media. In the Donetsk region, the enemy is trying to resume the offensive in the direction of Donetsk-Pisky. Hostilities continue. The Russian troops led an offensive in the directions Mineralna Avdiivka and Spartak Avdiivka. They had no success, suffered losses and left. Ukraine returned from the Russian side another 17 bodies of dead Ukrainian military, reports Suspilne. According to the Ministry for Integration of the Temporarily Occupied Territories, the process of returning the bodies takes place in accordance with the norms of the Geneva Convention. More than 1.3 million civilians were evacuated from Donetsk region during the period of the full-scale Russian invasion, reports Ukrinform. According to the deputy head of the President's Office of Ukraine, Kyrylo Tymoshenko, there are still about 350,000 citizens in the region, including 50,000 children. Our Patreon supporters get access to a cool new series on wartime life in Ukraine. To join the club, follow the link in the description below. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine. Thank you.